Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you very much for pressing play on today's very short video. I'm so honored today to have in the chat. Okay, remember, this is not a podcast today. This is about a chat today going over the Wardley and Clarke fight, what happened on Sunday, which was an amazing fight. As I said, I feel honored today to have in the chat room Mr. Esham Brown Pickering, okay, he's going to tell you his credentials, okay, and we've also got Neville, the Saint Brown, again, who's going to tell you his credentials. And as I said, I feel honored having you in the chat today. And what we're going to do today is basically just chat about the Wardley and Clarke fight and ask a few questions and just kind of reason and feel how it went and how it could have went and what maybe could have changed in between the fight. So, Esham, tell us about yourself quickly.
I'll have a little one. I don't want to go on too high, but I started in 1991 in a small club in a town called Newark, RHP, which is obviously 18 miles away from Nottingham. Within 2.5 years, I won a national title, NABCs it was called. I won a national title and I boxed for Young England in 1994, and then I moved to Sheffield, 95, and then I moved to Sheffield in 96. Turned professional with Brendan Ingle. Had 11 pro fights within just over a year. In a year and a half, I boxed for the British title and lost to a solid pro, John Joe Irwin, in my first year and a half. Yeah. And then I boxed for a world title, 2 weights below that, too much weight, too low the weight, and I got stopped in the first round. First time I've been on the floor. And then I boxed 2 years later in Gran Canaria at super featherweight, which is 4 weights above bantamweight, and I beat the guy every round. It was on Eurosport, if you can remember Eurosport, and they give it the other way. So I've been beat on points, knocked out and robbed, and then I went and won my Commonwealth title in 2003, British in 2003, and then European in 2004, all knockouts, and then they had 2 defences of the European, and then I lost on my 3rd defence. I never won a British outright, either like Neville, but had a decent career. Obviously, I've got more excuses than anybody else, but
I don't see them as excuses because, as I said, we're going to get you on a podcast. So a lot of this information we're going to delve into how your career went, where it started, what were some pitfalls, your successes, your highs and your lows. We'll go through that. So, brilliant.
Yeah, I think everybody will get bored of me, but I'll try and break it down nicely. But at the end of the day, I won 3 belts, British, Commonwealth, and European titles. So, I mean, how many people would like to have won that? So I've got to say that to myself. Not many come away with the gold, do they? So
exactly,
it's nice.
That's what it's about.
It's nice to get something out of the sport. I'm still heavily involved, and I want to get a world champion. I'm miles away, more than ever anybody else could be. I've been doing it 12 years as a coach, and now I'm manager. I've got my managers back again, but I'm giving it a good go, and this is what I do. It's all I know. I'm also a support worker, and I'm happy to be around and happy to be healthy. And thanks for having me on the podcast, Martin.
No problem.
It's great to be with my guy as well, Neville Brown.
No problem. Right, Neville. Introduction, sir. What did you do in boxing?
Right. So I'm going to keep it very simple because today's conversation is about the great fight of the weekend. Neville Brown, boxed since the age of 12, 58, still chugging along today. I won everything you can win as an amateur boxer in the country. Like I say, I'll go into the podcast with you. I couldn't beat the politics.
Right, okay.
I didn't realize politics was so rife, even in the amateurs. Eventually, I became the unwanted fighter, a dangerous fighter, no money. Went on to win the British title, and I've held it for the longest. I'm the longest ever middleweight champion. There might be one guy who's longer than me, which I'm quite happy about that.
Yeah.
And a lot of that's due to the fact that I was getting called in at short notice for fights. But when I boxed a great guy called Frank Grant, he actually gave me 3 months training. He allowed me.
The tank.
Yep, the one he beat Graham.
Yeah.
So after beating John, is it John from Derby?
Yeah.
Ashton.
Yes, John Ashton.
He
Yeah.
boxed me for his second fight. Had he won that, he'd have won the Lonsdale belt outright. I beat him and went on. Should have done better. Never did. Didn't live up to what I was capable of. But there's a lot of reasons why, which is sad. There's a lot of politics, and then once you're the fighter that they don't really want, that doesn't bring money to the table. See, I had a very British title, was the title.
Right. Okay.
All
Yes.
the top guys. So they had to get me out of that position because they were losing valuable money, I suppose, in a lot of ways, which is sad. But in them days, we got dragged onto Sky, and my name wasn't popular at the time.
Okay.
So it's hard to promote oneself compared to today. You can be on there and you can be shining now, making a living out of it. So, like I say, I battled for the Commonwealth, and then I battled for the European, and I walked away from boxing after the Commonwealth title because I was getting short notice, 4 days notice, and to lose weight and get in there in the ring. Nah, in this game you get hurt. So, but I had a great career, and like Esham said, we've come out of it unscathed. Traveled the world, and I'd like to pass on the knowledge. That's the next thing what Warriors do.
Right. Thanks for your introductions. As I said, later on in the month, I'm gonna hopefully get you both on for your individual podcast, and we can really delve into your personal careers a bit deeper. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So today is all about the Wardley and Clarke fight. What happened on Sunday? Pre-fight, I was taken in by it. I don't know if yourselves were taken in by it, but I must admit I was more following of Clarke's career from way back when, and obviously having the chance and opportunity of meeting him along his own journey. And Neville, you'd be familiar with him as well, obviously coming from the same town. I thought to myself, I want Clarke to win personally. Okay, and the reason for that was not only in a boxing sense, but in a sense that I believe that he's done it the way how, you guys were successful. I wasn't, okay? But I went through the amateur system, okay? And I was that young lad who wanted to aspire to be better things. And as I've only known it that way, that guys who I've known who have gone on to good things have all been kind of amateurs before they've gone pro. So there was something within that what I thought, that is the man who I want to win, because I know he's gone through the system. Okay, so who did you actually want to win and why?
Is that for me?
Yeah, for Nev, yeah.
Yeah, well, Fraser, of course, he's a Burton lad, Burton born. I know the guy, humble lad, beautiful guy, beautiful ambassador to the sport. We're saying that, so is Wardley.
Yeah.
Just simple fact. If I didn't know these two lads, I'd probably, like everybody else, be like, wow, just going to be entertained. It was an amazing match because they both were questionable. And this is the real big thing why I love this fight. See, I call boxing, when you're fighting somebody next week, that means you don't know if you're going to win. That's a fight. Sugar Ray Leonard, Tommy Hearns, no matter what you thought about either fighter, you did not know who was going to win that fight. Yeah. Right up to the last second of each round, you did not know. Yeah. And this fight had that appeal. We did not know what Fraser was going to be like going 12 rounds because he looks very tired and ungainly in some of the fights. But then he's fighting opposition that's not really come to fight. Yeah. So we didn't know what he was going to be like. He hadn't shown what he could do. And Wardley, he'd come out of nowhere. White collar is the background, and he's coming, and he's 16 fights, 16 wins. And we all had this idea, this is a fight. If it was Anthony Joshua boxing somebody, you always kind of knew that, this ain't a fight. Anthony Joshua's going to win next week. He started a fight. This, all the pundits, everybody, fans alike, we didn't know who was going to win. Yeah, we all kind of knew the better fighter was Fraser, the better technical boxer was Fraser. Yeah. But the actual coming into the fight, he hadn't looked good beyond 4 rounds. So we all kind of knew he was going to be struggling if he hadn't got the fitness in place.
Yeah.
And we all knew Wardley, but it was still untested. We all knew that he was strong and had been tested a bit harder than with his opponents that he'd boxed and come good. But the point was, we all thought that if Wardley coming in and the engine that Wardley would have would just break down Fraser. And we got that. But Fraser stood strong.
Yeah.
And it just created the best fight. I think it was fresh. It was refreshing for boxing, especially boxing heavyweights at the moment.
Yeah.
Spectacle. It's become a spectacle. You already know who's going to win. Nobody will fight anybody. You have 2 young lions here.
Yes.
On the line.
Yeah.
Although it was a draw, and I don't like draws, it was very hard to pull these guys apart. But looking back again after the fight, I think you got to give it to Fraser, because I think boxing-wise, he landed the more clearer shots.
The shots, yeah, definitely.
To me, he won, and I didn't understand this low blow he got done for, because the referee's job is to let us know that they're not happy about the low blows. Just to come in after one low blow and say public warning, that could have changed everything.
Yeah. True. So Esham, who did you want to win and why?
Again, I'm quite outspoken to myself. I'll make up my own opinion, but I've agreed a lot with what Neville said. I didn't see a warning for the low blow. I didn't see a warning. No, so that was ridiculous. That should have been taken off. I did have Fraser winning the fight, but I'm happy. I think the draw's the right decision because of the point took off. The point shouldn't have been took off though. Obviously, he did get up from off the floor. Yeah. And he was badly shaken. But I had Fraser winning the fight. I like Fraser. That is the reason why I've got him winning, though. You know what I mean? I thought he won the fight. And I'm going to say this. I need to say it because I fought to Neville straight away. He's in Neville's territory. He's brought up in Burton-on-Trent. I can't understand why Neville Brown didn't train him for that fight. I can't understand it because the fundamentals that Neville works on and the way he boxed would have made an easier job of Wardley.
Let me just go and get the charger. Continue, Esham. I'm just going to get the charger for the computer.
Yeah, no problem. Wardley's crude and game and a bit wild. He had a lot of dig deep in him, which kept him in the picture and made he was a great contender. But I just thought using sweet skills with your background, Neville, and obviously Fraser can do it. You just need to throw the straight shots, I thought. Just the straight shots, especially on that nose. That's the straight shots. He didn't need much else, really. Obviously, distance, timing, but that's what he needed for me. That's what I'm saying. Right. What's the question? What's the question then?
So I think you're right there, Ish, because the better technical fighter was Fraser. It's just the fact, though. Look, the first time you do a 12-round fight, you've got those ghosts. You don't know how you're going to feel. You can talk all the talk you want, but you've never done a 12-round fight. You don't know how you're going to feel in round 8, 9, 10. Championship rounds, I call them.
So remember, Wardley had not gone over 7 either.
That's right. So that's why it was all the unknown that made this fight. So the fact, no, I did not think it would go the distance. I thought one of these big lads are going to land on each other. One, Fraser's fitness. We question that. That's all. The technique, no doubt. We're just worried. And it's his first 12-round fight. How do you go into your first 12-round fight? You have to pace yourself. Now, Wardley, you're right. He hadn't gone the distance either. But it was easier for him in some sense because they didn't believe that Fraser was strong enough to hurt him with the punches. And just the fact, if you looked at the first 4 rounds, you just simply thought, if Fraser keeps that momentum up, he wins 12 rounds a shutout. In fact, he'll stop Wardley later on. But then he did start to tire. And that's the old ghost coming in. I've noticed after 3 or 4 rounds, Fraser drops down. whether that's psychological, which we have to get out of his system straight away.
Yeah.
And that's training. Whatever you do in the gym will return and amplify itself in the fight itself.
Yeah.
If you're doing bad things in the gym, I'm not saying you're doing bad things, but if you're doing something good or bad, it's a habit. It's going to come up, it's going to blow up in the fight itself, the main event, under the atmosphere, under the lights. If you got a habit, it's going to blow up in there.
Yeah.
And I just think if you look at the first 4 rounds, it's like, why is this guy in the ring with Frazier?
Yeah.
He's got heart. Wardley's got heart, but he did not know how to close down Frazier, so he just stormed in. And when he had the Frazier in trouble, he over-amped the punches, so he blew himself out. The idea was, I think, in Wardley's camp, would have been to take Frazier into deep water and drown him. But unfortunately, he couldn't support himself in the deep water. He hadn't got the experience. The 4 or 5 years he's been boxing, he hasn't got that template that Frazier has.
Yeah. So you know, did you find that Wardley just became very dangerous when he was really up against it? Because I noticed he seemed to be a bit more dangerous when he was really up against it. When it was boxing at long range, I thought all day, every day, you know, long range and medium range, I thought Clarke was kind of boxing it right. Uppercuts were coming.
If you look at the fight, that's right. If you look at the fight, it's clear who's landing shots, who's landing more, who's controlling the fight. But as he tired and the momentum came on and the psychology was, this is getting hard now, I've got to suck up, which he did do. Yeah. First time doing a 12 round, it's like doing a 12-mile run. If you're running a mile and you're going at a pace you can't pace yourself for, you're going 5-minute pace mile, you're going to struggle if you can't keep it up for 12 rounds. And if you've never done 12 rounds at that pace, how do you slow down? Because once he slowed down, now he became, Wardley could now get to him. Yeah? And it's the unknown. So I think if they boxed again, now he's got the confidence he can do 12 rounds. He's still got to work on a lot of technical stuff there and put people in position. But Wardley is driving forward, and he's a little bit of a novice. So he's doing things. When you box a fit novice guy, sometimes they do crazy things, and they catch you with silly shots you don't expect because he threw a right arm from too far away, where a seasoned fighter would have seen that, step back and clipped him with a hook, stopped him dead, and come back the combination. Yeah. But by the 5th round, Frazier didn't have that in the legs no more. He's a big lad. He's 19 stone. He was moving and throwing punches. But I just think that's where I think his coaches are going to look at him and they're going to say, right, where are we going wrong here? How do we correct this here? And every fighter should be looking, whether he won or lost his fight, every coach should be saying how we now go to the next level. What you need to iron out here. And right now, we're fatiguing at round 4 or 5. And we need to recognize how to slow the fight down with the jab, how to control the guy, take it to him. And I thought those little things were it's only his 7th fight, remember?
Yeah.
Realistic, that's a lot. That's pretty early to jump from 3 rounds, 4 rounds and go. I do believe Olympians can go straight to 12 rounds. Yeah. I do believe that, and I can explain to you why I believe that. Yeah. But in this situation here, he's in a 12 round. He's had 3 months, 4 months training for this. He knows who he's boxing. And I think he could have excelled. And I still think there's another 40% to come out of him. I think you need to be relaxed in that 12 round. Never done it before. You're a little bit not certain, not sure of yourself. Yeah. And it was a titanic fight, wasn't it, for that reason alone? So
if you were the coach in, let's say, Clarke's corner, what advice from obviously the rounds where it mattered, let's say 6th round upwards, what advice would you kind of given to Clarke?
I think he did the right things. I think what you have now, the question I want to know is, I'd want him moving for 12 rounds. I want him to have the ability and the agility to move for 12 rounds. A big guy that can move for 12 rounds is untouchable. Tyson Fury's proven that. He has that ability. He has movement.
Do you think he's that type of fighter, though?
I think he is, because I think he can be. I think it's another bow to his toolkit already.
Yeah.
Because he's got movement, he can dance around. But like I said to you, if you haven't done 12 rounds, you're not sure. It might get you in trouble in round 8. You've got no legs under you because you've used too much energy. But I think with his fast jab and his the amateur background is still solidly in him. He can step back and forward. And I think more movement of the legs in training camp will bring that other gift, the idea when to hit, when to land, when to maneuver. If you can't throw a punch at somebody because they're moving, that means they will throw shots and they will rush. Now, a seasoned fighter, whereas Wardley didn't have the ability to slip, slide, step in, close down the space between him and Fraser, that walking onto a shot, or that throwing it to, like he said afterwards, he went off the game plan. Yeah, he would do it. He's inexperienced. A seasoned fighter might have closed that gap down better.
Yeah.
And that's what we've got to work for. And that's his next level now.
Yeah. Great. Yeah, good information there. So the other thing to ask as well, where do you see Wardley and Clarke as, hijacking the room to face like the Boars, Dynamite?
Well, I think this fight was a match made in heaven, and you saw it. What everybody thought about this fight was answered.
Yeah.
Can they go 12 rounds?
Yes.
Brilliant.
Have they got?
They give everything. They can both argue that they won the fight. They've both got legitimate arguments that they won the fight.
Yeah.
And then you got to break it down now and be a good coach and be honest and say, like, where did Wardley go wrong? Where did Fraser go wrong? And I don't think he went wrong. I think he's got a psychological. It concerns me that 4th and 5th round, as a big lad, he slows down a little bit too much there. And he never got his next gear. He never got his second wind. If that makes sense.
Clarke did, didn't he? Clarke did.
Didn't seem to show me he got his second wind. He got tired and stayed there. But that was part of Wardley's battle plan. Once he tires, don't let him get his second wind. And that was the battle. That's why everybody was so, oh my God, can Fraser keep out of the way? As Wardley blew himself out as well. So by round 9, round 10, you've got to go with the educational fighter that Fraser should be. My guy's just desperate. Wardley's just desperate now, throwing anything, which makes him dangerous because now Fraz can't move the way he was moving earlier. So now brought the two guys together, and we got the fight we had. Whenever they landed, they were both in trouble. And the face of Wardley, that's just cruel. He's got a back marker. I thought he had a scarring here, and that just ripped up. And now I thought they were going to.
I reckon it's the problem he's had before. He's had that before. He's had that. He always cuts there.
Yeah, so maybe he's got a structure there, as in the nose, the bone. Maybe it's sharp there, so when he gets hit, it lines up. Because his last couple of interviews, I've seen it. So whether he's been hit in sparring, it's definitely
one thing you can't train. That Wardley, he's got a big set of bollocks, mate. You know what I mean? A big set of balls. And that's what primarily kept him in the fight, the bout. It kept him in it. And he dug deep. A lot deeper than Fraser. But please tell me this, and I hope you agree with me. They was both fucked from 6 rounds. So they can get fitter.
Yeah.
A lot fitter.
We know fitness.
It's never said that.
Fitness comes and goes.
Second win.
Stay with you.
Yeah.
So we know that Fraser's got the skills, but now the skill needs to be trained into the endurance side of his movement. He's a big lad.
What's the other thing, Nev? What's the other thing? I know I can do rounds, and I don't really train to be a fighter now. But you've got to be able to do rounds. Now, that don't mean you can do 12 rounds being fit. You know how to do 12 rounds. Do you understand me? You know where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
You know how to do 12. I can do 12. I know how to do it. Even though I'm not fit to do 12. Do you understand me?
Yeah,
We
definitely.
can do it. We know to pull off. We
Time.
know to go. We know to waste time. We know to time up. We know to step out. We know to breathe. We know to relax.
As you
You know
say,
what I mean?
Ish, as you say that, totally. And that's why I think now the 12 rounds is out the way. I've done it. Right, now I've done my first 12 rounds. How do I dictate the fight? How do I get into round 6? How do I get in round 7? Because with the next level of fights that they're going to meet, both of them, whether they meet again, because the argument is, do they have a rematch? Or do the promoters take them 2 different directions to meet again in 4 fights, 5 fights onward?
Yeah.
But it's a lot. Money will talk.
Yeah.
Money will talk. If they can go to Saudi Arabia and they get told to fight for the British title over there,
I'm sure they'll be interested in that level.
That's life-changing money fight.
I'm sure the Saudis will be interested in staging a fight like that in their country. Definitely. So what about the scoring of the fight then? Have you got any opinions on the scoring of the fight?
For me?
Yeah.
Do you know what? I'll be honest, watching the fight, I hadn't got a clue who was ahead. It was so engrossing. I mean, my lady was there, I was screaming like I was in the fight. Jab, stick, move, hold him. It was that kind of fight. And I love both boys. I love the way they came into this fight, the intelligence, this stupid back and forth with fighters do today. I don't respect. I don't like it. But these two, they were honourable in the fight coming in, and it was good to watch them banter with each other. After the fight, the friendship, even the decision, humble boys. Their skills spoke, and I think that brought people in. And then aftermath, brilliant. The scoring. I didn't get the low blow.
Yeah.
The referee's job. Someone said on when I was looking, they said, the referee did say something earlier. No. The referee's job is to let us know there's a problem. So if there was a low blow, which I didn't see anything that was significant, referee should have stopped the fight and then stated to whoever, Frazier, keep your hands up. Second time, Frazier, that's your last warning. Third time, taking a point away. But he just walked up in the heat of the fight and just went
1 point.
Just give up. And I didn't get that. So they've got an argument. And Wardley, in his bad technique, was throwing the backhand and throwing the right hand and throwing a backhand. A legitimate illegal shot. He threw it 3 or 4 times. Referee
he got warned for that though, didn't he?
He got warned, but he did it more than 3 or 4 times, and he's still. So what do? Do you pull him up for that and give him a warning, which then gives Frazier? I thought the cleaner punches came from Frazier. I think he controlled most of the fight, but I thought that when it came down to the slub, when it came down to the toes, we're getting stuck in now. Wardley was dictating, and Wardley looked like he was on for the stoppage, and everybody kind of thought that was going to happen, but Fraz came through.
Again, Frazier did something his experience with his gum shield. Very smart.
Yeah, they needed all those tactics. They did well for themselves. They really outshone themselves, both of them. And it was a shame to have a loser. And to me, there's no losers in this fight. They both are going to excel. I think if one had lost,
it would have been sad.
I can't think that way. Frazier should have got the decision. He won it. But
on a business purpose, Martin, they're going to make 10 times the money, aren't they, on the next fight? So the job's done, isn't it?
Yeah, everybody's going to. I think everybody's going to want to see that again.
I think there definitely will be a winner next time.
The only thing is, what I notice about rematches, they're never the same as unless it's Ward and Gotti.
They always say the first one's the best, don't they?
The best one, yeah. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I'd love to see a rematch. But again, it's sad that there's going to be a loser.
No, we've got to change that. We're warriors.
Yeah.
As long as we're getting paid.
Yeah.
Then these are heavyweights. Yeah. I mean, I think middleweights is the hardest division because middleweights hit like heavyweights and move like lightweights. there's a lot more of us. So for heavyweights, everybody's drawn to the big boys. Yeah. And in this sense, that's where the paycheck is. So they've got to be economical, they've got to be practical, they've got to be thinking about their welfare. And these two, I'm going to say this, I don't think these two, they said it was a real Humdinger fight, but I don't really think they hurt each other. I don't think it was that kind of like Bowe and Holyfield. They clearly stunned each other. There was in a titanic battle. They were throwing shots. The odd shot would catch him, and I think they're just fatigued. Even when Frazier got put down, he was wobbled as he moved away to try and get some space. No legs.
Yeah,
that's where I think his strength's got to be in his legs as a heavyweight, a mover, dynamic training, skipping, movement every day, but like Ali type training. Have that ability. Because I think a heavyweight that can move. Look at the basketball players. Those big dudes move. So big guys can move. Get rid of this slow, lumbering heavyweight. He's not that type of fighter. I think it's another tool to his. Yeah.
Well, it's somewhat from still to develop.
I think he's got more to develop on.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, earlier on, a few people asked this, why have I not trained Frazier? It's a strange one. We have a good relationship.
That's a good question.
We have a good relationship, and we are in the same town, and I've been and seen him, but it's never happened. He's been in the gym odd times. I took him on the pads one time, and he was blown away with some of the pads I showed him, and just basic stuff I was showing him, why we do this now. I did it for a big lad. I think it would work for him. He loved it. But no, we've never ever trained together on pads and never had the conversation. I've always said if you need help and advice, I'm around. So he's got a solid team around him.
Yeah.
Where he's got to. Why should he need me if he doesn't feel he needs me? But myself, I always say if Sugar Ray Leonard or Mike Tyson moved to my town or was in my town, I would be at his gym every day.
Right.
I'd be getting information of this guy who's been where I hope to go. That's never happened. And I know his dad. I grew up with his dad. He followed me when I was a youngster. That's a great family, good family. So I don't know why that's never happened, but
have you ever heard that saying though? That saying, famous quote. What my Jamaican parents always say: you can never be a king in your own town. You ever heard that saying before, Nev?
I like that.
Yeah.
So it's the same. What
it's true.
You never be a king in your own town because people just see you as the local person in your town. They see you as that person. You know what I mean? But
I suppose it's a bit like parents, isn't it?
Pardon?
You're talking. It's a bit like parents.
Yeah.
Your boys.
Yeah.
My boys, Ivan and Michael. My kids, when they start talking, they're my age. My kids listen.
Yes.
When I'm talking to them, they're not listening to me because they've heard me talking all the time.
Yes.
So I'm trying to get them to do something, clean their room, do this, and my boy comes in and says, "Yo, Dad,
can break it down."
And they clean up the room. And I'm like, and the same when I goes to his boys, I can see the big boys now. But when I say something, yo, you can't be doing those, Connors, come on, man. And it goes, and then they listen to me. So there is that village mentality. There is that what you just said there.
Yeah.
No one can be a king of their own town because they know us. We've grown up from kids. Man, everybody calls me Brownie. Same thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely, man. You know what I mean? So yeah. So guys, what can I say? Okay, one thing. As I said, I thank you very much for coming on board today. I'm looking forward for you to share your personal stories because obviously there's a lot.
You know what, Martin? I'd like to hear some stuff about you as well, mate.
Yeah, that's fine, man.
You could have done very well. You could have done very well.
I wait for people to ask me to do something, and then
1991, 92, when we went to your place sparring, you come to ours. I remember you about. I remember you about a lot.
I remember riding your bike. You're riding your bike. You and Greavesy from Newark.
That's the one. That's the one.
Definitely.
Yeah, on the train. Tommy Thompson.
That's right. I remember watching Nev It was in Lincoln, I believe. Okay, watching Neville in Lincoln. It's a lot of stories, man. A lot of history. You know what I mean? We'll just say there's only a few what shine and like you guys, but it's great to know that not everybody can make it. But I don't forget where I'm coming from, and I know you guys don't forget where you're coming from. Why we can do this podcast as well. You know what I mean?
This is the stories that reach people. This is what changed lives.
Yeah,
you know
that's right.
Because the world has changed right now. And the work we do with children and the young ones coming through.
Yeah,
it's a scary world they're coming into. And sport is, to me, is their warrior mode. It will teach them about self. You know, how to win, how to lose, how to work in a team.
Yeah.
With that's being pulled apart now with technology. Technology is great, but it's overwhelming.
We don't want sport to go, guys, because sport is keeping it going, isn't it? 100%.
Teaching our youngsters, teaching them how to hold their own in life. It's their warrior mode.
Transferable, isn't it? Very transferable across life, business, everywhere.
Look how humble we are.
Yeah.
We've learned to get off the floor. We've learned we don't always win what we want. We don't get what we want. And it's humbling. It's heartbreaking too, because that's all part of life.
Yeah, true. Right, guys, what can I say? Nev, what are you doing now? Because I know you're doing your smart to box.
Do you know what?
Contact with you, or do we need to say that?
Yeah, just very briefly. I mean, I always thought that I followed. If I do what I do, I'm a good amateur, top amateur. So I'm going to turn pro. People are going to turn pro with me. And when I go pro, I'm going to be meeting more or less the same guys. And that never happened. I could never get the guy. As a professional, as an amateur, you had to fight me to get through those championships.
Right.
But as a pro, if they don't want to go near you, they ain't coming near you. And when you've got promoters who can't make money from you, they don't want other people to have you.
Right.
So you're a little guy running down the side here. I was offered, when I turned pro with Mickey, to go and sign up, and I'll be straight over with Lloyd Onigan in America, getting him ready. I thought, where do I sign? I signed. 2 years later, I'm still in Burton-on-Trent, boxing for £800. And it was heartbreaking because I thought, I can't live on this.
Yeah.
When I boxed for the British title, I'll tell you this now, I was on the dole. I had to cancel my job so I could train 24/7 like I thought professionals did.
Yeah.
And that's people go, you were never on the dole. Even my dad was surprised. I go, Dad, I had to go on the dole. Wow. So I could physically rest, and then I didn't have money for food. I had to get to Sheffield. It was a tough one.
Yeah.
So people don't know these stories. And then there's the weight drain, how to met weight. I was never a middleweight. I was a light middleweight.
Right.
Well, I can explain how that training works, how you put weight on, take weight up. I didn't know that coming up. I was just told to train harder and don't eat or drink. I know you heard the same thing.
The stories. We used to do it. We
did it. And therefore, how could we be? I was watching Roberto Duran the other day, and they're talking about his training. And he had the same problem, because in them days we didn't know how to make weight, did we?
Yeah.
So it was like, don't eat, don't drink water.
Yeah. It's like science now. There's a science.
Now the science has taken over to a point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You know your stuff on that, Martin. You know your stuff. Imagine if you knew what you knew now. Back then, you're in a different story for you. But all in hindsight, you can show the next generation.
Yeah, that's right. That's what it's about.
That's what I was doing. I waffled on. So when I came out of boxing, I didn't know what to do with myself. So I went into university. I thought I'll go into university and see if I can find something to do in sports science and whatever. But then I had 2 children. It just overwhelmed. I had no clue of where I was in life. But cut long story short, I looked at, people said to me, why are you doing personal training? Why are you doing lifting barbells? I goes, and he goes, I bet you know some boxing stuff. And I thought, oh yeah. Why do you teach boxing to people then? So I got all the stuff I'd been doing. I just went more into it. And I started devising a program for boxers that's safe, called Smart to Box. And it's safe, it's audio, you listen to it, you produce, you follow actions. And I started doing that. And it was for fighters, but a lot of coaches didn't really want that system around. Whether coaches are funny with one another. I wanted to help coaches and help fighters, but it's a hard one to. I come to your gym and show you a structure. You might not want to learn the structure, but when I start talking to you, you'll go, "That makes a lot of sense. I think that would work." But if it's the egos, I don't know. But we've got to make boxing safe, and that's what I do. I train people. Anybody who wants to box. Everyone wants to learn to box. More importantly, how to be a champion, not boxing champion. That's great if you get that.
Within yourself.
In life.
Person.
Great.
That's the guy in that. When you look in that mirror, that's the man or woman. That's the person you need to love. That's the person you got to look at and blow up.
Yeah.
And we're looking at other people's lifestyle.
Thank you.
And not into ourselves. We've got all the answers here. In ourselves, we've got the answers. So I bring that out in the training. You know, courage. You know, me and Ish going into boxing back. They're not saying fights, because what does fight actually mean? Fight means out of control, fight or flight. Yeah. When I go into the ring and my weight was good and my training was good, I was the most relaxed fighter in the world, in the whole arena. I had to be. If I listen to the crowd, they'll get me killed.
Yeah.
So I've got to be the calmest person. Just me and my trainer are talking. And I lost that when I lost Mickey, because we had that vibe. I could come into the ring, he would know, by my look, his look. In training, he'd know if I was overtraining or under-training. He would know. Right. That's what coaches do. His coach's job is to mentor the fighter and to slow the fighter down. Today, it seems like the coach feels he's got to get the athlete to train harder. You didn't need to motivate me. You didn't need to motivate Esham and yourself. We already knew what we had to do. We needed slowing down to understand rest days.
Good point. Yeah.
Understand when to eat. Understand when to go to bed. All these things. The coach's job is to see how the fighter trains in the gym, because those bad habits will take into a fight.
Yeah.
We can't have that. So I always say it's the fighter's training camp where everything is applied. Yeah.
Good point. So the smart to box philosophy is that for all levels of people.
Do you know what it is?
Well, yeah,
it is. It's for anybody to go to, but it's overwhelming when you first hear it. Right. Just like a fighter, when you go into your first fight, could you remember anything? You just got stuck in. So you've got to take the information and learn. Like Wardley's doing now. Wardley, his head must have been, wow. Yeah? Yes. I got a seasoned fighter here. How do I get next to him? Well, he should never have got next to him, and he didn't in the earlier round. He had to over-express himself to get a good shot on Frazier, which worked because Frazier slightly slowed down.
Yes.
And then that to me is where the answer is. Frazier don't slow down, they fight again, and Frazier keeps doing what he did for the first 4 rounds. It's a shutout, if not a stoppage.
Yeah.
We're not designed to take punches.
Yeah. True. So did you watch the Alan Burbick fight as well versus Robinson?
Babbage.
Babbage fight.
I missed that.
Wow.
Did you see that, Nev?
Did you see it? I watched most of them, yeah.
Did you watch it? Yeah.
I believe so, yeah.
Oh my gosh. I don't know. He took a lot of punishment. And the way I was boxing, he had the range. Did he use it? No.
Was that the earlier fight?
Yes, yeah.
When I turned it on, the first 10 seconds, I paused and said to my lady, this fight needs to be stopped. What are these referees doing?
Yeah.
I'd missed the first 2-3 rounds. It was a bombs corner. Well, come on, man.
As I
You've
said,
got to save our fighters. Why are you taking blows like that?
Yeah. But as you said, though, you know what I mean? You did say a point just a while ago. What the coach would have been saying to them was definitely not the action what he should have been doing. But who knows?
Well, they say, I hear this all the time.
Yeah.
Martin. They say, oh, he takes a good punch. No, he doesn't.
Don't want to.
Look at the rubbish that was going on with Joe Joyce.
Yeah.
The juggernaut. Nobody can move him. He takes a punch.
Yeah.
I go, if he was around with the Lennox Lewises and the Mike Tysons, and the Truth, you name all those fighters back in the 90s, that'd be target practice.
Yeah.
And then this guy nearly 40 odd comes in and he can't miss.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden he looks like he's never been in the ring before and he's getting put to sleep.
Yeah. Yeah.
We can't take
levels. As the levels
We're not designed to take punch.
Yeah.
We're not. And the conditioning allows us, our skill sets allow us to take people apart with our skill sets. If you just drew a line in the sand and said, right, swing at each other, at anybody's fight. You know what I mean? If you can get licked, look how many strong people are in this world. What we have in our game is what Smart to Box builds onto. What we have in this game, we don't have no, do you know like martial arts? Martial arts has grading system.
Yes.
So you'll never see a black belt whooping a white belt. Because it'll be like, you know, come on, man. What are you going on with? Yeah? There's levels.
Yeah.
Now, who's fighting? The black belt or the white belt? Who's fighting?
Yeah. Well, you'd expect
the white belt's fighting because he hasn't got the skill sets to deal with the black belt. The black belt's got skills that can control. Even if he's not as strong as the white belt, but he's got skills. You don't have that in boxing. I see too many black belt boxers whooping lower grade fighters. Where you want if you're fighting, if you're sparring someone who's afraid to throw a punch in case you disturbs you, upsets you, then you got a fighter who's no good for you because he's not live.
Yeah.
If he's scared to throw a punch back at you because you're going to get blasted with the 5-punch combination, he's no good to spar. But you shouldn't be damaging the package. Sparring shouldn't be like that. When I spar, me and Esham spar, same way, there's no way we're going to damage one another.
Yes.
Because we're going to fight in 6 months' time or 6 weeks' time. And that's what seems to be missing in our field in a lot of gyms. A lot of young gyms are going to, a lot of guys can't actually spar 3 or 4 rounds because they're trying to kill each other. They're trying to represent sparring the wrong energy and trying to damage one another in training. There's a technique, there's a skill set to this. You wouldn't have a Mike Tyson and a Lennox Lewis sparring every day trying to kill each other.
No.
Because you'd lose both of them. You wouldn't lose one, you'd lose both of them.
Well, what do you put that down to then? The coaching or just?
Well, it's a lot of it's ego. If me and you are sparring together and we haven't taught the game yet, I throw a jab at you, you're smiling, laughing. You throw a jab at me, you catch me. I try and catch you back. We're competitive. We're young athletes. We've been taught to attack press-ups, attack runs, attack the sprints, attack the punch bag.
Yes.
We've been taught to attack. So when we spar, what do?
Attack.
Thank you. So no art of boxing has been taught there. And if you've got good skilled fighters in your gym, they will control you and calm you down. Because they're the black belts, they're the higher belts.
They've got the skill set,
They're going to bring me through, and then they'll say to coach, he's getting hard to handle now. I may have to take him to the next level and put him in his place a little bit because he's getting a bit too frisky. My elders do this to me. That's boxing.
That's true. That's true. That isn't it.
But today's people want to kill each other.
And
I see this going on to the streets. Back in our time,
it's a mindset.
I don't think I would have gone training.
When
I was in my bedroom, that was a punishment back in the day. But today, you put a kid to his bedroom, he's talking to someone in China. He's playing war game, cursing the parent. What is he learning?
True, nothing.
And then you lead on to this is what I do a lot of work with people. Then you lead on to the knife crime. And there's a psychological issue going on there because the kids are no longer doing sport in school in the way we used to. It's tag rugby. It's tag football. You can't tackle one another. Well, if you don't let the kids at 8, between the ages of 5, 6, 7 to 10,
learn
freestyle, sort themselves out, and you're always protecting them, when they get to 13, 14 with adolescence kicking in, and attitudes and egos, and they're not being supervised by an adult now, and they play rough football, they don't know how to compute that some guy just kicked me in the bloody leg. And then you got animosity, and then it excels. They don't know how to say sorry to one another. Then you got vibes going on. Because they've never fought, they've never had a fight, they don't know how to handle themselves.
Yeah.
Me and you know how to handle ourselves. But
White belt scenario again.
We don't necessarily have to fight. We just move away because we can see that this person can't fight. He's mouthing off, and we'll just keep out of his way. And if it does, I always say this to people. I'm going to test you now, and the people listening, right? Who do you fight? A prime Mike Tyson on the street, by the way. Who do you fight? A prime Mike Tyson, 20 years of age, 21 years of age, or the local bully? Who do you fight?
Well, you fight Mike Tyson. The local bully is a local bully.
What the reason why most people say Mike Tyson, or they actually say the local bully. So a little part of your conscience said, yeah, the local bully. The local bully doesn't know how to fight. Mike Tyson knows how to fight, and he will know when the fight's over.
Yes.
He will know before he slaps you down that you're just mouth by your body action. He'll know how to deal with it. And if he does strike you, it's one strike and you're down and out.
That's right. A bully doesn't know when.
The bully won't know when the fight's over. The local bully won't know when you have had enough.
Yes.
And now you'll play up to the people watching, and he'll throw more punches at the part of the guy that doesn't want it. The guy could be on the floor sleeping,
and he's still kicking him.
And he's still kicking him.
Yeah.
There's no control. We have lost the ability and the discipline to teach our youngsters there's a responsibility with the actions you do. Sport will teach them that.
Yeah, that's good points.
Whether it's football, whether it's anything. Look at football. When they score a goal, they behave like me and you when we knock somebody out and win. They're like,
yeah, that's right.
The same chemistry. The same chemistry.
That's true enough.
That's just
I can't wait to get you on your personal podcast. Yeah, man, we're gonna have a good reasoning.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
We've lost Ish. Where's Ish gone?
He's gone. I think he had something to do. He was telling me earlier that it was only he only had an half an hour time window. So
yeah, so we're chatting too long then.
Yeah. So Nev, listen, I'm gonna wrap it up now.
Yeah.
As I said, I sincerely thank you for giving your opinion up and sharing your wisdom. Okay. About the Wardley and the Clarke fight. And as I said, I'm looking forward to getting you on your own, on your personal podcast with me. And we're going to share some of your amazing stories and your wisdom, what would definitely help people. That's what it's about, helping.
It's about passing the knowledge on. Passing the knowledge on.
Yeah?
Yes.
Thank you, Knowledge. If anybody wants to contact you as regards your Smart to Box program, where can they contact you? What email can they get in contact with you now?
Well, the email's playing up at the moment, but basically it's what I've given you today is my email now. I've had to change it.
So that's L8
box at outlook.com.
So let me put that up there. L8 box at outlook.com.
But that's my email, but it's also Smart to Box. You can catch me on that. But if you go on the site, you'll see the Smart to Box. If you go on to the
is that the one?
Smart to Box, yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's my normal one. But I also have Smart to Box and
Smart.
Where are we?
Was that double O?
Smart to Box.
Yeah.
It's smarttobox.com and it's smart. It's SMART smart.
Yeah.
With a number 2.
Yeah.
Box. Can you see that?
Yeah,
there we are.
Yeah, got that.
Smarttobox.com.
That's the website, yeah?
That's the website if you want to communicate with me and talk about we're building because obviously the algorithms and all this stuff there and the funnel this and funnel this way. It's crazy out there. Everybody's swamped where we're trying to teach people. But if people can understand boxing, starts here. Yeah. I do it as a grading system. I call it a ranking system.
Mm.
And you learn how to go through, and you're going to lose more than you win, because that's what about. But you don't get damaged, you don't get hit. You can get to the stage where I teach you just like a fighter, get you ready for a bout. And a lot of my guys who box in their first or second bouts, people go, "Nah, man, he's boxed before.
Mm.
He's doing stuff that only experienced fighters do." I go, "Yeah, because I teach them to do that."
Right.
Foundations, fundamentals, or inside. It just comes down to the difference between me and you with the world champions and anybody else who wants to do it is the drive. If you've got the right coaches around teaching the right stuff, you're going to go a long way. Then it comes down to how bad you want it. That's what it comes down to. It's just, if you want it, we've got it. If you want it, this is going to take you the whole way. It's program.
Yeah.
But it's a new way of training. People aren't used to it. I'm talking to you in the mind. I always say headphones on. Now you're listening to me. And I'm following instructions. And I take them through. And they've got to learn to listen. People are not listening to themselves. When they look in the mirror, as Michael Jackson would say, the man in the mirror. That's the first person you've got to communicate with.
True.
And we're too busy pulling that person down. As men, you're not good enough. You haven't worked in life. Look at what have you achieved in life. Women, you don't look good. Your body's falling apart. It's wrong.
So, Nev, do you think a lot of that is because people are looking in the wrong places?
Yeah. No, we've been taught. We've been taught. You come to this world a complete clear vessel.
Yeah.
And you learn from your parents. And your parents have not learned. My parents couldn't even read. My dad couldn't read. My mom couldn't read. My mom, so I never had that sit on my lap, Neville, Jack and Jill book, because they were afraid because they couldn't read.
Right.
But yet my dad was intelligent, a good craftsman with his hands and everything else.
Yeah.
He didn't have to sit down and communicate with me. Typical Jamaican. Sit down. Where I going with? Never behave yourself. Boy, come down. That's all I got, man. You know what I mean?
Man.
And then you obviously had the 70s, 60s, 70s, mixed relationship. My mum was abandoned by her people.
Yeah.
My dad wasn't accepted. And I grew up in this world not really being accepted and not understanding why as a child. And my mother had a traumatic life. And she never told me. I put it together as a young child. And that was that. I don't look. I never thought of it.
You got to save some of this, you know. For that,
just being real, man. Just being real.
Yeah. You're gonna share some good gems when we have that full hour, just me and you on that podcast.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Share everything, share your experiences, and I'm looking forward to it. Definitely.
Right,
yeah.
Yes.
Nev, listen. Enough respect.
Cool, Martin.
Blessings every time. Thank you for your time.
Yes.
And obviously, I'll be in touch with you, okay, by weekend, and we'll sort out when you get you on. Definitely.
All right.
I know you'll help some of my people anyway with what you're saying.
That's what it's about, man. That's what it's about. That's all we do. Young warriors, old warriors, we've got to pass on the knowledge.
Yeah, man. Enough respect. All right. So listen, enjoy the rest of the day. Okay, and may the Most High bless you each and every time. See you?
Respect,
One love, yeah? One love, never.
Every time.
Every time.